Well, this is where we are this Friday. I need to perform a hover flight of at least 30 seconds in altitude hold and download the data flash logs without the harmonic notch being enabled. And then graph the log element FTN1 PK average, which represents the FFT's energy weighted estimate of average noise frequency for roll and pitch. Okay. I started recording more sources today. This is the run cam on top of the quad. I'll show you the flight camera after this one. I did this so I could work on some things. So you see the RPMs coming up in the middle bottom, 1.7. There they come up to 9,000. No amps above that, but in the upper right, we do have current from my change today. Battery voltage in the upper left, satellites. Boy, I've got to work on that camera. 25 milliwatts transmitter power there, 7% throttle. So just starting to play with some of those things. The camera may look so bad because the receiver's in the basement behind concrete walls and stuff. So, and it's only at 25 milliwatts. So I have to work with that later. But we all know how wonderful analog video is. There we go. We've flown our flight. Oh, rats. I flew it in stabilized mode, not altitude hold. It's supposed to be done in altitude hold. I don't like my altitude hold yet, and I need to get out into a more open area to get it closer. Or it could be exactly what it is, and if I just trusted it, it would be fine right now. It's just me, guys. So, now that we have that, oops, I don't have to power up the platform for this. All I have to do is use Mission Planner. Don't even have to connect for this part. Review a log. Oh, I forgot to tell you what I was doing here, didn't I? Oh boy. Graph the log element FTN1 PK average. FTN1 PK average. Check. There were some things you didn't see on the videos that are in this log. For example, when I first fired up the platform and the motor started rotating, it was obviously hitting something. One of the blades was hitting something. Ding, 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 ding. You know what I mean? That was this. And what this is, The battery cable was in the back right prop. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Check on that in the future. So I disarmed it. That's what happened here. You can see right here it says disarmed. And I went over there and just bent the battery wires and the battery big Dell over towards the center a little more. I didn't know they were going to hit. Everything's new right now. And then after I got that, I went back to where I was flying from, and you can see right here I rearmed the platform and then I took off. And this is those flights. Not sure what these bottom peaks are down here during the flights, but I'm just doing what they tell me. On the graph there should be a fairly consistent estimate of the noise peak that corresponds to the motor rotational frequency. On a smaller copter this is likely to be around 200 Hertz. On a larger, 100. So the copter in between those should be about 150, right? Here's an example of a 5-inch quad running. Once the pilot has started up, there's fairly consistent noise level about 220. Okay, I see that. 200, 201, 210, 220, right in through here. No, this would be 220. Right here would be 220. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, fine. We'll call it 220. So they're going right through here. I've got a little more stuff in mine than they do. Oh well. So 220. If a consistent estimate is attained, you can then enable the harmonic notch as described in flight FFT based notch, harmonic notch setup. What do we have there? I'd say it's fairly consistent right through here. Not as cool as theirs, but fairly consistent. I hope putting it in stabilized rather than altitude hold didn't cause a bunch of problems, but I think I'm right in there at 140. Kind of the center through that stuff there. I don't know. Never done this before. So I'm going to call that 140. In this flight, the dynamic harmonic notch was enabled and set to track FFT. Determined frequency and FFT analysis of the post filter log shows the gyro noise has been effectively eliminated. Well, this shows gyro. They don't tell me what parameter they're using for this. PSD. Wow. Oh well. Guess I can't look at that, can I? Don't know what to look at over here. There's no gyro. Wouldn't that be IMUs? I'll have to work on that. Gyro, X, and Y. So those same little things in it, that must have been where I just jerked it around. Because I was trying to keep it in my little small area. And Z would be a whole different thing from X and Y. So don't quite understand that because they don't give enough information here, but so we're over to flight FFT based harmonic notch setup. Okay, we're going a little round robin here, people. We've been here before. We set this to a 1. We come down here to the initial flight analysis. And this is where we just were. We can't go round and around and around, people. So we're going to skip this time, this time through. Normally, okay, this bullet. With FFT enabled, it is best to first perform a test flight to check that your aircraft's particular noise frequencies are being captured and to monitor CPU load. See initial flight analysis. I did that. Didn't say a thing about CPU load. Normally, results from this will show clear noise recognition and acceptable CPU loading, and you can use the FFT to drive the harmonic notch by setting these parameters. I didn't see anything about CPU loading. Oops. I think that CPU load is on the mission planner screen. I didn't record that this time. I tried, but I'll have to look up CPU loading. I tried, but the Mavlink took so long to pull in the Mavlink data, the flight was over. There was no usable output. So, we're to this bullet. Set INS HNTCH enable to 1. They're also talking about if you're setting a second notch filter. You can do 3. That would be crazy. So, we need to come in here and get this parameter right here. Trying to copy it without getting any spaces in it like I normally do. That keeps it from finding my perimeter over here. Okay, that is set to a 1. And I have rebooted. Like that, don't you? So now with it powered down, powered back up, reconnected to, and rebooted, we have all these parameters for INS. I'm going to call it Hitch. So set INS mode. We're setting mode and reference. I'm going to set reference to a 1 and mode to a 4. So mode set to a 4 here for dynamic FFT. And reference set to a 1 here. I could read these things. Still kind of Greek to me, tell you the god-awful truth. For most uses with other FFT-related advanced parameters at their default, this is all that is required. The user can do optimizations of the filtering setup by analyzing the test flights and logs and adjusting notch bandwidth if desired by following in-flight FFT advanced setup. I'm going to stick that in another tab over here. And setting up the FFT parameters can be done automatically using the RC channel option 162. So you can go in there and set up an RC channel. Pick a number between 1 and 10, RC6. Oh, well, that's the one that's normally used. Let's just use another one to prove that it can be done. Oops, 19. I don't have the extra ones enabled, so I only have like the first 16 right now. You can enable up to 32, I think, channels. Ardu will do 32 channels. I'll look at that again because I told it to you. So if you take any RC option and set it to 162, you can see right here you are setting it to FFT tune. Trying to get in there with my cursor before the flying help pops up. And then you can set RC channel 10 to a potentiometer or switch. A switch will work for this function because you just want to set it high, 2000 PWM, and a low, about a 1000 PWM, something like that. Don't need any inside stuff. Set the function to a switch on the transmitter, hover the vehicle, switch it on, high, 30 seconds, back to low and land. The perimeter will have been set up and switch function removed. Note, do not use this feature in firmware 4.3, exclamation point. Hey, I'm flying 4.3. 4.33 doesn't say if it means that's 4.30 only, or if it applies to 4.31 or 4.3117. So I'm not going to do this. So basically, with these set, I think I'm ready for an auto tune. Not sure. I've got this saved over here because we were sent there by this. So this is iFlight advanced setup instructions. I think those are optional. So yeah, we're just coming right back around and around. Oh no, here we are. This is the advanced in-flight setup, what I had this tab set for. So it's just 2 screens away from that other one. So let's see here. FTN BW average now is what they want me to look at. BW average. N1 BW, the one below what we were looking at. So right through here looks like about 130 to me. Okay. And their example here, they're saying the same thing, 125-ish. You can see the bandwidth estimate is roughly 125-ish as follows. Set INS hitch BW equal bandwidth estimate. Okay, this is for the advanced in-flight FFT setup, which over in the other thing said, oh man, that we were kind of through, that this would be advanced stuff. INS HNTCH BW. INS H should get it. Okay, we're supposed to enable that notch filter right out the perimeter. That means we will have to reboot to see those changes and read our parameters back in. Might be able to just done a refresh parameters here, but I like those full boots. Just me. And now with INH hitch enabled. It isn't really hitch, but then we get these other parameters. Well, how'd that get disabled? Because we've been in here before. Anyway. Sinus hitch BW bandwidth estimate. For me, it's 130. So that would be right here instead of 40. 130. I'm not going to do this right away because I've read down through the rest of the documentation a couple of times yesterday and I know that we're about to do, this talks about averaging, and if you do the averaging, which is right here, I think, frames, number of frames. What the hey? That doesn't exist over here. FFT underscore NUM. FFT underscore N. Okay. So this is, you can average frames. What that'll do, we frequently average in computers so we can throw away bad senses. Is that what they're talking about here? Instantaneous average can suffer from noise. Yeah, that would be bad senses. One way to reduce the noise or bad senses is to average the number of data frames together. Well, they talk about here that adds extra CPU load and that you should really experiment with it. And because of the latency of what's going on here, because multi-rotor is not stationary for very long because of changes in throttles. Thus, usually only a small number of frames can be averaged. So they're estimating 2 to 5 frames. I'm going to leave it and not do the averaging right now. And that gets us down to post configuration flight and post analysis flight. With the dynamic harmonic notch configuration configured, perform another stable hover to check noise peak has been eliminated. It tells you what to check here. So I'm going to do this without this, and then I'm going to come back and do it with it and see what the differences are. Let's see what we got from that. Boy, this is just a whole lot different than it was 6 years ago, as well it should be. So, let's see here. That looks sort of the same, different graph. We don't have the props out here banging into stuff before it was armed and started to be flown. Still right there to, I'd say 140 instead of 130. This one's kind of at 130 right there. Still there, isn't it? All right, let's go put that perimeter to 130 and see what that does. Well, now it's got an oscillation in it again, so I just set it right back down. That's an awful short log, but let's see what we've got there. Whoa. This video is getting too long. I'm going to break it here. I'm going to publish it, and then I'm going to start digging deeper. I could drop the 130 back out of the notch filter. And do the right here. And do the auto tune. Or I can try to get what oscillation I see out of it in the same way that we started out to begin with, and then do the auto tune. So I've got to make that decision. Real close, guys. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much.